So I've always wondered how weird people feel when they're making YouTube videos in public. And now I finally know. And it's super awkward. Morning. Could I also get a turkey bacon and white cheddar? Okay. Do you guys take Apple Pay? We do. Sweet.
Thank you. Can we get a name for your order?
Chris. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It is way too early to start out without breakfast. So, I mentioned that I was going to be making this video on the history of money and, you know, how far society's come. And ultimately why cryptocurrency is so important. So, we're here at the Dallas Love Field Airport. Come on a trip with me, and let's do it. Oh, by the way, Chris with Committed 3D Tech here. Time to fly. So, I think most of us know that gold and silver were the first precious metals used for currency, and that was done all the way back in the 8th century BCE. So that is forever ago. Believe it or not, it took all the way until the 7th century just for someone to start using paper money. And actually, the first people to do that were China. And the craziest part about it is, the Western world actually didn't adopt paper currency for another 5 centuries. So the 13th century, Marco Polo started to use it.
Mark, enjoy your weekend.
Finally made it. Of course, after that, it was another 4,000 years until European banks would start printing paper notes. And at that time, it was all backed by gold. So that's where we get the term the gold standard. Which basically, those paper notes meant that you could go to the bank where they kept all of the gold in vaults, and essentially you could exchange those paper notes for gold bullion. Fast forward from there, and in 1944, what happened was something called the Bretton Woods Agreement, where basically what was happening was a lot of other national currencies were basically meeting equivalent to the US dollar. So the US dollar and the euro became the national standard.
Yeah, hey look, follow my man vlog, Fiat, Washington DC, best place in America, you feel me? Make sure y'all subscribe, alright?
Thanks, bro. Appreciate
No
it. You heard him. Subscribe to the channel, man. Man, people love YouTubers out here. That's pretty surprising. So for the Bretton Woods Agreement, it actually still was backed by gold, but they changed a lot of national currencies, then adhered to the euro and the US dollar. Now, fast forward to 1971, and that's where the gold standard was no longer in effect. This is where fiat currency and legal tender becomes in effect. Essentially what it's saying is that based on, for instance, the United States having such a large economy, or Europe as well, that legal tender has value based on that. Or, in other words, two parties agree to a value of a certain currency. Oh, and there's my Uber. Oh, really? You'll drop me off on that side?
Yeah.
Oh, you're the man.
No problem.
Alrighty.
Okay, my friend.
Thank you again.
Yeah, thank
Very,
you.
very appreciative.
No problem.
Have a great day. Happy Valentine's. Thank you, you too. All right, so that leads us to one of the big problems with fiat currency. And that is, for instance, in Zimbabwe. So the inflation rose to over 230 million% because basically there was a shortage of food because the government confiscated so many farmlands. And so that basically turned the Zimbabwean dollar into zilch. Nothing, it was worthless. And for your viewing pleasure, we have come to the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. We're gonna go tour. I don't think I'll be able to film in there, but let's see what we can do. Important to note that because of the US economy, I mean, that can't be compared to Zimbabwe, or even Venezuela is doing a similar situation. What is cool, and I'll talk about this a little bit more, but Venezuela is actually trying to implement a cryptocurrency that will be their national currency called the Petro. Now, I'm a little bit speculative of that, and we'll talk about that when I bring up cryptocurrency a little bit. It is freezing out here, and we're finally going in. Woohoo! So unfortunately, we weren't allowed to film inside of the Mint at all, but we're in the gift shop now, so I'm gonna look around a little bit, maybe buy something, and then we'll go talk about why cryptocurrency is important and why this was even relevant to what we were talking about. By the way, something really, really cool is they print almost $1 billion daily. Crazy, right? Okay. So, something I learned today, I mean, we definitely print a lot of money, but we're also decirculating certain bills as well. So, I think the money that they print is actually only only 5% of new money, from what the tour guide told me. But it's very, very interesting, and so like it made me realize more and more that we don't have to worry about the US dollar crumbling like Zimbabwe or anything like that. But at the same time, cryptocurrency definitely has a huge value. So let's go grab something to eat, and we'll talk about it. Show you what I got from the gift store. $100 chocolate bar. It really wasn't $100. It was like $1. For some reason, I like these commemorative coins, so I got this one. It says the buck starts here. Thought it was cool. So anyway, let's go get some food. Look at how beautiful this city is. I bet you these houses are like millions of dollars just to live in. Probably even just one floor. Yep, looks like they're multiple floors. So anyway, so the reason cryptocurrency is so important, obviously it's not physical like this, so you don't need to print it, which makes it really similar to a credit card. But the difference is the type of currency. Like we talked about with fiat currency, there is basically one governmental power that's determining what it's worth. One person, one agency. And in America, that's the federal bank. So that's what people are talking about when they say centralized. So the important thing about cryptocurrency is that it's decentralized, meaning there is no one agency that determines its value. It's actually valued based on supply and demand, which is really important because that gives us the best of both worlds. The fundamentals of why banking was important, to make it accessible to everybody, but then also it's putting the power back in the hands of us, the people, the individual. So really, while we're not quite there yet, where we can solely rely upon cryptocurrency, it's only 10 years into the making. I mean, the first Bitcoin is just a little bit over 10 years old. So I guess the whole point I'm trying to make, imagine if you bought a gold coin back in 1940 or sometime way back then. Imagine what it would be worth today. Now, I'm not saying to go and put your whole life savings into cryptocurrency, because like we talked about time and time again, this is something that you just don't know, and it's not the safest way to invest your money. And you know, I was talking with one of my hotel roommates today. I stayed in one of those 4-bed dormitory style hotels, and it actually was pretty awesome. It was like $30 a night, and just really, really amazing. So if you're ever in DC, that's what I recommend. It's over by DuPont Circle. So anyway, that person that I was talking with in my hotel, she mentioned how she has just rubbed shoulders with a lot of bankers over time, and they know how to manage money. They protect their money. And so when you're investing in things like index funds or certain parts of the stock market, those may be better, what I call short long-term investments. But if you're looking for something like buying a gold coin in the early 1900s, compared to now, man, you would just be loaded. And so cryptocurrency is very similar to that, in that it's very new, it's a new idea, and it may take centuries to become the standardized currency. But, I mean, keep in mind, the way that the world is moving now is exponentially faster. You know, you think about the internet came out in the 90s, and now could you, I mean, not even 30 years later, could you imagine living your life without the internet? I couldn't. There'd be no way. Absolutely no way. So with all that being said, that's why I think cryptocurrency is so important. Once again, none of this is financial advice. Make sure you go to a professional financial advisor. If you're looking to invest in anything, always do your own due diligence. That's extremely important. Last but not least, just remember, right now, Crypto.com is probably the #1 cryptocurrency investing platform in my book. If you go sign up for the Ruby Red Visa on Crypto.com, you and I can both get $50 for free as a sign-up bonus. So make sure you do that. Last but not least, make sure you like this video, help push it forward to a larger audience. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. My name's Chris with Committed 3D Tech, and we'll catch you next time.